You gave us hours to surrender. We took minutes to erase your existence. The alien counselors laughed when Earth's message came through, sarcasm and defiance wrapped in static. But as their fleets blinked out of existence, as their warships collided with themselves in twisted loops of broken time, the laughter turned to screams. Commander Kale, Iron Fang, Dern didn't fight wars. He hunted civilizations. The alien council chamber pulsed with anticipation, its walls alive with projections of Earth's final hours. 9 figures sat encased in thrones of ancient alloy, each more arrogant than the last. Counselor Vrex, draped in scales of obsidian, leaned forward and tapped the projection of Earth spinning lazily in the void. 4 hours, he hissed, voice sharp with disdain. 4 hours, and this infestation is purged. They should have bowed. Another grunted, tentacles twitching with impatience. Primitive creatures. They barely understand gravity, let alone causality. A murmur of agreement echoed, but Vrex silenced them with a flick of his clawed hand. We broadcast the terms. Surrender or extinction. Yet they mock. He summoned the last transmission from Earth. Static flared, and then the figure appeared, tall, imposing, half-shadowed. Steel-gray eyes. A voice like grinding stone. You gave us hours, Kale Dern said, his face cold, unreadable. We'll only need minutes. The chamber erupted with laughter, the kind that dripped with centuries of superiority. Vrex sneered. Let them have their final boast. Begin the deployment. Across the stars, fleets moved, miles-long ships sliding from slip space like knives through silk. Orbital bombardments charged, targeting coordinates sent hours prior. Earth's defenses, such as they were, flickered in the scanners, weak, scattered. A junior tactician blinked, confused. The planetary shields are down? They've surrendered to fear. Vrex spat. Prepare the chronospike. The chamber darkened. In the center, a sphere spun, a weapon not of matter, but of time itself. A spike driven into the river of causality, designed to unmake civilizations by erasing their capacity to act. Lock on Kale Dern's command center, Vrex ordered. The technicians obeyed, targeting Earth's crustal anomaly, the signal believed to be Kale's base. Energy built, a hum rising to a crescendo. A timer flashed. 4 hours. Kale watched from deep beneath the Earth, his face lit by streams of alien code, cascading across displays. His team, the obsolete, worked in silence, fingers flying over mismatched consoles of human steel and alien tech. They've begun, a voice murmured behind him. Kale didn't turn. Let them. He tapped a sequence. Across Earth's skies, a flicker of movement. Holograms, perfect replications of cities, installations, shields, vanished in sync. The real Earth, shielded beneath layers of distortion fields, came alive. Not with defense, but with anticipation. Kale's voice echoed through the command bunker. Black Fawn units, initiate. In orbit, the first Council ships approached, weapons primed. Then hesitation. Ships faltered, veering off course, colliding with phantom echoes of themselves. Data scrambled. Commanders shouted. Kale smiled. Aboard the Council's flagship, alarms blared. Temporal anomalies detected. A voice shrieked. Ships are colliding with themselves before they launch. Impossible! Vrex roared. Activate the spike! But it was too late. Kale's Black Fang soldiers, equipped with quantum displacement rigs, were already embedded in the Council's past. Striking before orders were given. Before ships were built. Before alliances were formed. Vrex clutched the arms of his throne as feeds collapsed. Whole fleets vanished. Not destroyed, unmade. A new transmission forced its way onto their screens. Kale again. You declared war. We declared impossibility. You cannot! Vrex stammered. You are bound by time, by cause, by. Kale's eyes narrowed. We're bound by nothing. He raised his hand, and the Predator's clock pulsed, Earth's ultimate gambit, sending ripples through time. Council systems glitched. Records rewrote themselves. History shifted. Bring the Arbiter online! Vrex howled. But the ancient AI, the true master behind the council, stuttered. Overwhelmed. It had not calculated this. Kale stepped back from the console. Around him, the bunker vibrated with power. We didn't come to fight you, he said. We came to erase the need. The chamber on Carthuin cracked, its walls shuddering. Counselors screamed as their thrones collapsed, their forms flickering, avatars losing coherence. Vrex lunged at the console, desperate. Stop this! There must be terms. Kale's voice was ice. You gave us none. The chronospike backfired, imploding into a singularity of failed causality. The council was no more. Minutes had passed. The smoke of silence settled over the council's shattered confidence as they scrambled to understand. Fleet after fleet went dark. Reports flooded in, not of battle, but of absence, ships missing, generals unaccounted for, victories that had never happened. Counselor Vrex slammed his fist into the command table, his claws screeching against the metal, eyes glowing with primal rage. Trace his signature! Find Dern! Lock onto the Predator's clock! A technician's voice broke under pressure. We can't, Counselor. The signal's fractured, looping. It's not from our present. Vrex stared, stunned, then snarled. Then trace it in the past. I want Kale Dern before he breathes his first word. But even that command crumbled as more systems failed. Whole decades vanished from the records, timelines shifting under their feet. The Arbiter's voice finally returned, distorted. Causal anomalies exceed containment thresholds. Recommendation: cease temporal engagement. Recommendation denied. Vrex growled. You are the Arbiter. Fix this. But deep beneath Earth, Kale stood motionless, watching data pour in. The Council's panic was evident, their timelines splintering exactly as planned. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Rhea, approached, eyes wide with cold excitement. Black Fang Team's report Phase 2 complete. The high strategists of the Council, gone. None ever born. Kale nodded slowly. Begin Phase 3. Break the throne. Rhea paused, then smirked. With pleasure. The order went out like a whisper through a hurricane. Across alien space, human-coded viruses infiltrated Council tech, disrupting even the deepest archives. The Arbiter, for all its ancient intelligence, had never faced an enemy that fought not for control, but for obliteration of the game itself. On Carthuin, Vrex's voice shook as he addressed what remained of the Council's fractured hierarchy. We must act now. Deploy the second wave, target all human installations, no matter how small. But one of the remaining counselors interrupted, fear slicing through his voice. There are no installations. They were illusions. Every strike we made hit nothing. We've been attacking shadows. The chamber fell silent, realization dawning too late. Kale's face appeared again, without invitation, looming over them. You built your empire on certainty, on the belief that time bent for you. You thought yourselves untouchable, inevitable. But you never faced us, not truly. Vrex stood, towering, defiant still. You've made your point, human. But know this, we are not the galaxy. You cannot erase us all. Kale's tone sharpened, a blade against stone. I don't need to. You're not the galaxy. You're the infection choking it. With emotion, Kale triggered the Predator's clock. From the edges of the galaxy inward, Council outposts began to vanish, not in fire, but in silence. Worlds liberated themselves, memories of oppression fading like mist. Vrex roared. Arbiter! Lock this timeline! Seal it! I want every moment of this war locked in permanence. The Arbiter hesitated. Temporal flux exceeds design. System integrity compromised. Kale closed his eyes briefly, then spoke with finality. You relied on an ancient mind to keep you immortal. But even gods break when faced with truth. He uploaded the final sequence, a data core of humanity's ugliest, fiercest moments. The Arbiter buckled under the weight. Rebellions, revolutions, chaos, and order intertwined in a storm of history. The Arbiter, logical and rigid, could not contain the paradox of humanity's will. Counselor Vrex fell to his knees as his throne dissolved. Around him, the chamber cracked, time itself unraveling. Kale watched, unblinking. We are not bound by your laws. We don't follow your order. We were born in chaos, and from chaos we thrive. A final shudder echoed across Carthlin. The counselors faded, their legacy erased. Kale turned away from the screen, his voice low. Time's up. Kale stood at the center of the control nexus, his eyes locked on the ever-shifting pulse of the Predator's clock. Time rippled across the display, not in seconds or minutes, but in fractured possibilities. He clenched his fists. They were close now. The council was collapsing, but something remained, something deeper. Rhea approached, her voice tight. It's not over. The Arbiter is still resisting. He didn't flinch. I know. She hesitated. If we push further, there's no coming back. No resets. No safeguards. There never were. Kale's voice cut clean through the tension. We've always been at the edge. Now we step over. The Arbiter's final defenses were the oldest. Hard-coded laws buried beneath layers of stolen thought, stolen control. The Council had worshipped it, called it infallible. But Kale didn't believe in gods, only power, and the will to break it. The plan was simple, brutal. Upload the totality of human history into the Arbiter's core, force it to process the very thing it could never comprehend, humanity's refusal to be controlled. Where other species bent, humanity broke, reformed, evolved. Not perfect, not pure, but unstoppable. And now, unshackled. Begin the flood, Kale commanded. Rhea nodded. Across the Nexus, data poured into the Arbiter's network. Wars, betrayals, revolutions, defiance. Images of burning cities, rising flags, fallen tyrants. Billions of moments stitched together by one truth: humanity endured. The Arbiter struck back, lashing out through corrupted systems. You cannot persist. It echoed in a voice both ancient and hollow. Order must survive. Entropy must yield. Kale stepped forward, staring into the core projection. We are entropy, machine. We are the storm you tried to predict. The Arbiter pulsed violently. Council remnants, hidden deep in subrealms, cried out as their timelines flickered, erased by the overload. Worlds they once ruled woke in confusion, free of chains they didn't remember wearing. Rhea braced as systems surged. It's fighting. Hard. Kale didn't move. Let it. Inside the Arbiter's logic stream, fractures widened. The data flood was relentless. Human tenacity wasn't a pattern, it was chaos made flesh, and the Arbiter, built on absolutes, faltered. It projected new threats, counter-strategies, attempts to isolate Kale's mind. None held. You were never meant to win, the Arbiter whispered. Kale's laugh was cold, sharp. We don't win. We survive. That's enough. The Arbiter's core glowed white-hot, caught between collapse and surrender. Kale knew what he had to do. The Predator's clock wasn't just a weapon, it was a key, a means to lock the galaxy into a new reality, one where no single mind ruled. Rhea, he said quietly. Activate the final strike. She turned shocked. But you... I don't need to stay. A pause. Then understanding. Rhea pressed the sequence. The Predator's clock accelerated, cycles spinning beyond vision. Kale stepped into the uplink, his form merging with the data stream. The Arbiter screamed, a soundless wail across time itself. You will fall with me. Kale smiled as his essence tangled with the machines. No. I'll be what you feared. A human who never obeyed. Light consumed them both. Moments later, the Nexus fell silent. The Predator's clock stopped. Rhea stood alone, systems calming, the galaxy's weight shifting. A message blinked onto her screen, Kale's voice recorded in his final breath. Lead them, Rhea. Free and unbroken. She stared, then nodded, eyes hard. The Arbiter was gone. But humanity remained. Silence gripped the galaxy, stretching across systems like the aftermath of a storm no one expected. Rhea stood over the dormant Predator's clock, her mind spinning faster than its final cycle. The Arbiter was gone, Kale with it, and the Council reduced to whispers in a timeline that no longer existed. Yet the weight of victory felt jagged, heavy, unfinished. She wasn't Kale. She didn't want to be. But his last words carved themselves into her bones. "Lead them, Rhea! Free and unbroken." The room pulsed with low energy, systems recalibrating after the temporal warping. She could hear the others in the distance, voices of survivors, soldiers, technicians, all waiting for someone to tell them what came next. Kale's death wasn't the end. It was the start of a void, and voids demanded to be filled. A signal broke through the quiet, faint but rising. Not human. Not council. Something in between. "This is Commander Varen of the ZYN Coalition. We have witnessed something. The council is gone. Their fleets disbanded. We seek answers." Rhea leaned over the console, heart steady. "This is Lieutenant Rhea of Earth's obsolete command. You're free. The council is no more. Their rule, their time erased." A pause. Then, "And Kale Dern?" "Gone," she said, voice flat. "By his choice." Another voice joined the channel, then another, and more after that. Dozens, hundreds. Species long silenced, rulers once fearful, now bold with confusion and cautious hope. "What now?" someone asked. Rhea looked around the remnants of the control nexus, at the cracked monitors still displaying stars. Kale's way was war, unrelenting. She had followed him without question. But with the enemy gone, what did that path mean? "You decide," she said finally. "No council. No arbiter. No one dictating your future. We won the right to chaos. We earned the right to figure it out." "You speak for Earth?" a voice challenged. "I speak because Kale can't. I speak because silence is worse. But Earth isn't here to rule. We broke the chains so none would wear them again." A low murmur rippled through the comms. Dissent? Agreement? It didn't matter. The galaxy would argue. They always did. What mattered was they could. "Lieutenant," a voice behind her called. It was Core, one of Kale's old tech officers. "We're getting readings from the deep core. The Arbiter's fragments, they're unstable." She turned alert. "Meaning?" "It's not fully dead. Pieces of its code survived the purge. They're collapsing in on themselves, but if left unchecked, it'll come back." Rhea finished his thought, jaw tightening. She had seen what even fragments of the Council's control could do. Leave a spark, and fire would follow. She stepped to the interface, fingers flying. "Prep the last charge." Core hesitated. "But that'll destroy the entire core. Everything we've gained. We didn't come here to keep their tech," she snapped. "We came to end it." He swallowed hard, then nodded, setting the charge. Across the comms, voices argued, pleaded, questioned. Some wanted to salvage what remained. Others called for total destruction. Rhea blocked them out. She heard Kale's voice, not his words, but the weight of them. "I'm not him," she whispered to herself. "But I'll finish it." The countdown began, the core humming louder as the charge primed. Rhea broadcast once more. "To all listening, you wanted freedom? This is the price. No shortcuts. No relics of tyranny. When this core goes, we start from zero." Seconds ticked by. She closed her eyes, hands steady on the controls. The explosion was not violent, but absolute. A flash, and then stillness. The core gone. The last remnants of the Arbiter erased. Rhea stood alone, surrounded by darkness and the soft hum of systems rebooting. One by one, stars blinked back into view on the displays. Unclaimed. Unruled. "Now," she said, more to herself than anyone, "we begin." The galaxy was silent, but this time, it was listening. The stars stretched endlessly, unmarred by the shadows that once cloaked them. Rhea stood on the observation deck, alone, save for the silent hum of systems adapting to a universe without masters. She had expected relief, maybe even pride, but there was only the weight of a future unshaped. The Arbiter was gone, the Council erased, and with them, the illusion of order. Now the galaxy trembled on the edge of something new, raw and undefined. She wasn't sure what scared her more, the chaos they'd unleashed or the silence left behind. The comms crackled. Kor's voice came through, tentative. "You should hear this." She tapped into the feed. A broadcast, not from Earth, not from any known sector. A gathering of voices, overlapping, arguing, questioning. Who leads now? There's no council. There's no Kale. Earth started this. Earth should answer. Rhea closed her eyes for a moment, then keyed into the channel. This is Rhea of the obsolete command. Earth does not lead. Earth fought to break the chains, not forge new ones. A voice snapped back. You burned the old order. You left a vacuum. Freedom is a vacuum, she answered coldly. Fill it if you dare. Silence followed, then another voice, quieter. We want to talk. Not fight. But we don't know how. Rhea almost smiled. Neither did she. We're not here to tell you how to rebuild, she said. We tore down the walls. Now it's on you to decide what stands in their place. And if someone tries to build a new council? Her jaw clenched. Then we'll be watching. More signals joined, not just from former council worlds, but from fringe systems, rogue planets, places the council had never reached but whose people felt the tremors. Some demanded structure, others begged for time, most simply wanted to be heard. Kor's voice returned, low. This won't hold long. Chaos has momentum. So does fear, she replied. Let them speak. Let them fight it out in words before they reach for weapons. He stepped closer, hesitating. And if they do? Rhea didn't look at him. Her gaze stayed locked on the vastness ahead. Then we remind them who broke the first chain. The comms flared again, a familiar voice breaking through. She froze. It wasn't possible. Rhea. She didn't breathe. Kale? The voice was weaker, distorted, but it was him. Not whole. Not here. But enough. Her hands flew over the controls, trying to trace it, but the signal was scattered, from no point in space she could find. Where are you? I'm in the cracks, he said like it was a joke. The Arbiter's gone. But pieces of me stayed. I don't know for how long. She bit back everything that wanted to burst out. The questions. The grief. The anger. Why? Why did you stay? Someone had to make sure it didn't crawl back. It's over. We destroyed it. You don't have to. It's never over, Rhea. Not really. His voice flickered, fading. You have to be the predator now. I'm not you. No, he agreed, softer. You're better. Static surged, and for a moment she thought it was done. But he spoke once more, almost lost. Lead them free. Then nothing. Kor stared, stunned. Was that? She nodded, slow. It was. He looked like he wanted to say more, but didn't. Instead, he turned back to his station. The comms filled again, louder now, as more systems connected, more voices seeking direction. Rhea straightened, her voice sharp. To all who hear me, there's no throne left. No chains. No arbiter. The council is dust. You want a future? Take it. Shape it. But know this, if you try to rebuild what we destroyed, if you try to rule by fear, we will come for you. The obsolete don't answer to anyone, but we don't forget. The silence that followed wasn't fear. It was something else. Respect, maybe? Or recognition. She turned, walking away from the deck. Behind her, the stars remained untouched, waiting.